television, movies, everything. And the reality is that that's there because they, the Illuminati, and when I say they, those in separation consciousness, those who are in fear-based consciousness, what we call the Illuminati.
They're sadomasochist.
Is that they believe in their own set of rules, that they have to tell the victims what they're going to do before they do it to make it okay. Just like the movie Wag the Dog. It was incredible, and most of y'all know about that movie.
Tell them. It came out right before they actually ran a Wag the Dog in Serbia.
Well, it was a movie about a president who was having trouble, a lot of political trouble. He was having an affair with one of his secretaries, and that he created a war in Eastern Europe to get the minds of the people of America off what his...
And they used a little girl running through rubble as the excuse when it turns out they lied about babies in incubators. They always put out a fake story.
All this stuff. The whole movie was in the can 6 months before the Clinton allegations with Monica Lewinsky and what happened in Eastern Europe. I mean, it boggles the mind. When you and I started doing our stuff on 9/11, 3 days before on television, there was a television show about an airliner going into the World Trade Center. Duh. I mean,
they had oil storm 4 months before Katrina, even with the mayor in the show with the exact same thing happening.
We can go on and on and on and on and on. But the archetype is that our so-called controllers are in separation consciousness, and they believe that only by materialism, by taking the blood of the people, the peasants, can they become more powerful. And, of course, this is an archetype. Now, clearly, they're also telling us there's two ways to stop them, with silver and with crosses. They're telling us what to do. The cross represents spirituality. If you believe in God, and if you know that the grand organized design is going to protect our souls, and you stand up and look these people in the eye and say, I am in the light of God, there's no way you can hurt me, and silver and gold are the ways that intelligent people have traded forever. And, of course, they want us to get away from silver and gold with all this.
But it's not enough to have the cross and have the gold or the silver, werewolf, silver bullet.
Yes.
You've got to have the will.
To look them in the eye and say, be gone.
You have to stand up.
Absolutely.
What's the Bela Lugosi one where he's saying you have a strong will for one who's only lived one life? You have to stand up against them, too.
Yeah, and let me say this, because I believe this very strongly. We humans, we are not victims. We as the citizens of this country are not victims. God does not create junk. If we allow the good energy, the loving energy, the healthy energy of the republic to come through us, of the consciousness of nature, of the consciousness of goodness, we can stop any and all of this craziness.
We're going to come back and finish up talking about mindsets and attitude. People, number one, have to know the facts, but then they have to have the understanding that we are incredibly powerful. The globalists see us not as little pathetic, weak things. They see us as 800-foot giants. They're scared to death of us. That's why they got TV and movies and cultures and drugs in our water and food to try to suppress us, because they're horrified of us. It's like the head of the IMF, the head of the World Bank. They've all come out and they've said, the good times are over. That's a quote. You're going to be poor now. And they have all these other publications. I remember 10 years ago hearing NPR brag, we're going to have our economy fall apart. It's unsustainable. This is going to be good for the earth. No, it's good for them to control us. And they've hijacked the environmental movement. They control it. They have a lot of well-meaning people working for them. But I was talking to George Humphrey. I was saying, George, for many years you did your TV show here in Austin for more than a decade. You don't do it very often anymore. I said, why don't you just turn a YouTube camera on at your house once a week or when you're in town and upload stuff? And I was explaining to him how we have 8 different YouTube channels that we've been uploading to for 2 years. I mean, we've had our stuff on YouTube since 2005 when it came out, but it's now more than half of the video on the web. It's now, so that's the battleground. Yeah, there's censorship, there's problems, but we go there because when we put it on YouTube, it then gets duplicated to thousands of other video sites and then reaches people. But our 8 channels, over 110 million views. There are 44 million views just on one channel, and that's one small part. We're on now over 80 AM and FM affiliates, not 65. We've grown. We're now on shortwave, satellite, XM. The podcast, over 250,000 people downloaded today. We started an iPhone app that's free at Infowars.com. 40+ thousand have downloaded that in the last 3 months. I mean, we have all these different ways. My films, the DVDs, people buy them, they make copies. A new documentary that we're carrying that we're going to have first that starts shipping out late next week is Don't Tread on Me, about states' rights. That's available at Infowars.com. But the point is, you watch something I did 10 years ago or you did 10 years ago, it's evergreen. It's pertinent. People see things we did 12 years ago. It's pertinent today. It's evergreen. The globalists, it's lies and distortions. They've got to keep reapplying. And so all this work we've done, that's just on my channels, 110 million views. Not counting all the other channels, you know, with 6 million here for Obama deception, 2 million there for Obama deception, 500,000 for Endgame, 300,000 for Endgame, 1 million for Endgame. You know, just on YouTube, it's conservatively 200 million people. And, you know, to have Nightline here, and they were fully aware of that. That's what they were here about. They wanted to understand this, and that's why Obama and the UN and the New York Times and all these corporations, Cass Sunstein, who's a big supporter of the new Supreme Court Justice nominee Kagan, they've all called. In fact, when they had the La Raza extremist out at UCLA saying, we're going to get the old white people, we're taking over, we're going to get you, government funded to do this, to divide people, they had a sign behind them saying, hate speech is not free speech. So there they are spewing true hate, but I defend their First Amendment until they call for sedition, which they were really doing, which is fire in a theater. There they were, but then saying my speech has to be taken, my guns have to be taken so they can carry out their system. And so they're really going to try this. I mean, they're really going for broke here. Before we go back to calls, George Humphrey, your take on the rollout, the trial balloons for Internet censorship and control.
Well, I was just reading yesterday that our wonderful new president, the man of change, is another one of his flip-flops. When he was on the campaign trail, he promised that he would protect the privacy and the freedom of the Internet, and now his lawyers are pushing restrictions that are far greater than President George W. Bush ever thought about. Folks, if you have any of your dear friends who still believe that Barry Soetoro is there for the people of this country, please take them out to lunch and just give them the objective information. This fellow is an incredible puppet. He's as we know, he is the tip of the spear. He is an incredible choice. Yeah, he's very good looking. He's very articulate in front of the monitors, but he is a puppet of the New World Order, and he's very, very dangerous because he is so good. And he is not there for your rights, and he is working diligently to try and restrict the Internet. And the Internet is our friend. And
they're going to try to take it down with a false cyber attack. Just like they create the financial terrorism. They stage the terror attacks. They're saying, oh, the cyber attack's coming, and we have to be able to shut the web off and restrict freedom and control all ISPs and decide who can be on the web. And we have an Internet, too, that's kindler and gentler to stop al-Qaeda attacking our Internet, George. Meanwhile, Obama's in all these speeches bemoaning how he's being discredited by the Internet.
Yeah, and just FYI, instead of using Google, use startpage.com. They don't record your searches. It's a step in the right direction. I think that they're one of your sponsors, aren't they?
No, they're great folks, and I really support startpage.com. It's just that when I'm on a radio show or something, if I have to say, let's say I'm on some talk show and I've got like a minute and a half, yeah. I have to say, go to search engines like startpage.com, but if I just say Google, people know. Yes. And the problem is I've gotten so Google obsessed where I know how to search Google that with some other search engines, if I give out a certain headline, it may not get what I'm looking for.
Exactly.
But I think it's important to use proxy servers and other systems when you go to Google, and I think StartPage is excellent as well.
And I've gone over to StartPage in my own research. And for all of you, I certainly encourage all of you to have a group of friends, email friends around the country that once a week or twice a week or once a day, you send them information about the economy, about politics, about the environment.
Yeah, don't just receive this information. And I know most of you already know this. Use it because it's hurting the globalists. That's why they're calling for restricting it.
Be a magnifier. Be the clear light. Be the Be the Paul Reveres, because I'll tell you what, a few of us, as we grow and grow and grow, we are sending out information. And the information that I received just 4 or 5 years ago is just minuscule in comparison to what I receive every week.
It's exponential.
It's unbelievable what I'm getting.
And the quality of info is getting better. You know, the globalists have their disinfo agents. You know, it's not just radical Hispanic groups funded by the Ford Foundation and the CIA on record that are trying to go out and say you're an Uncle Tom to Hispanics that are, you know, free market, pro-Second Amendment, pro-America. I've had the white supremacist like Hal Turner, who's now been proven to be a Fed in major newspapers. He admits he's FBI national security level. Why are all the white supremacists attacking me? Because they want to radicalize white people. The Feds want to make sure that we get off message so that it's not something that other people feel like they can be part of.